Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Boy, what a difference 24 hours can make, right? This time yesterday, we were welcoming you to the absolutely ugly out-of-doors edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Overcast, drizzly, temperatures dropping. Today, completely different ball game. Of course, now that only adds credence to the old saying that if you are ever visiting the great state of Louisiana and you don't like the weather, stick around 10 minutes because it's bound to change. Hopefully, one more front will be coming through as we approach the weekend, and my sincerest hope is that the rain will exit as it is now being forecast from this next front to come through early Saturday morning, very late Friday night, so that we can get all of this out of the way before the Jaguars will entertain the Golden Lions of the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff at Mumford Stadium. More on that a little bit later in the show, but we start today's show with something that I've got to imagine. I don't want to venture a guess as far as percentages are concerned, but the overwhelming majority of people watching right now, you got the alert early this morning. You know, the old folks tell us nothing good happens after midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And when that phone rings, particularly when it's a regular phone call, that time of morning, I dread answering the phone because I know this is not going to be good. It was not a phone call. Immediately, it was an alert. So when the phone started going off early this morning, I'm saying, okay, this is an alert, which means one, could be inclement weather. Having stayed abreast of the weather, I could immediately dismiss that. I know that's not going to be the case. It's not a tornado alert or anything like that. So immediately my mind went to, it can only be one of two things: either an amber alert for some children or a silver alert for a missing senior citizen. And sure enough, it's an amber alert. The Ponchatoula Sheriff's Office is urgently soliciting your help. This level 2 child endangerment alert was officially upgraded to an amber alert early this morning after 2 brothers were taken in a stolen vehicle the day prior. The Tangipahoa Sheriff's Office, Sheriff's Department says 8-year-old Kason Heck and 4-year-old Jax Matthews were inside their father's car Tuesday morning when the vehicle was stolen from his residence in Ponchatoula. The vehicle in question is a maroon-colored 2013 Hyundai Elantra with Louisiana plates, and every now and then you get one of these and it's real easy to remember. And forgive me, I should have given you the heads up. Guys, girls, grab a pen real quick and a piece of scratch paper. The good thing is the plates are easy to remember because they rhyme. 153 AFD. It's not like, sometimes you get this hodgepodge of letters and numbers, and if you don't write it down immediately, there's no way you're going to remember it. 153 AFD. It rhymes, so it's easier to remember. Again, 2013, maroon in color, Hyundai Elantra, Louisiana license plates 153 AFD. Originally, if you look at the Amber Alert, the vehicle information was incorrect. So don't go by the information that was initially released. It has now been corrected. 2013 maroon Hyundai Elantra, Louisiana plates 153 AFD. The 2 young white males, both have blonde hair and crew cut styled haircuts. Kason, according to the Sheriff's Department, is about 5 feet tall, weighs approximately 60 pounds. Jax, his brother, is approximately 3.5 feet tall and weighs 45 pounds. Kason was last seen wearing a black jacket and blue long sleeve shirt, blue jeans, and black rubber boots. Jax, on the other hand, was last seen wearing a camo jacket and black rubber boots. They were last seen in Ponchatoula at their father's home Tuesday morning. Here's where and why I ask you to grab a pen and a piece of paper. If you have any information, if you happen to see the vehicle today, if you happen to see 2 young boys that fit that description, you are advised, asked to call, if you will, the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office. Their numbers, 985-345-6150, 985-345-6150, or you can call Sergeant Lindell Bridges at 985-551-0653. That's Sergeant Lindell Bridges at 985-551-0653. Literally seconds before going on air, I put in a couple of calls to the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office to find out what the status was of the search, if it's still active, if they still need our help in locating this vehicle and these 2 darling boys, and they assured me, yes, it is still an active investigation and they need our help. I want to say it was Melissa was the last detective I talked to in the juvenile division, and she told me that they have been absolutely slammed, which is why I had to jump through this hoop and then that hoop and then another hoop and then the other hoop to get this information to pass along to you. But they are working tirelessly. They are putting all sorts of superhuman effort into finding these two young boys. As a parent, I can't imagine anything more frightening than to have your children in a scenario like this, particularly two kids of this age. I mean, you know, it's one thing if you're talking teenagers, it's something else when you're talking your grown children, but an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, that is a parent's ultimate nightmare. And I don't think that they would mind in the least if I were to ask you, one, to keep an eye out for this vehicle, this maroon in color, 2013 Hyundai Elantra with Louisiana plates on it, 153 AFD. Real easy to remember because it rhymes. AFD on the end, 153 up front. You know our Louisiana plates, 153 AFD. Secondly, I know that they would not mind in the least. I don't know anything about these parents or this family, but I can only imagine they would certainly be grateful if you were to keep them and these two young boys in your thoughts and in your prayers. My former pastor is very fond of saying, you can tell a lot about a society, about how they treat their elderly and their children. And this is an opportunity where just regular folks like us, doing no more than going about our daily routine, simply being just a little more observant and helping to put a family's mind at ease. It's amazing when you lock these things in your mind, what you're able to do. Just remember, first and foremost, it's an older model maroon vehicle. So any car that you pass out driving today, any vehicle that passes your place of business, any vehicle that passes your home, if it's maroon, give it a second look. If it so happens it's an older model maroon car and it happens to be a Hyundai Elantra, give it an even closer look. And lo and behold, if the license plate combination of numbers and letters happen to rhyme, 153 AFD, may just be an opportunity for you to be a great neighbor, a great fellow Louisianian, and help a family that I can only imagine. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I can't begin to imagine what they're going through right now. Again, if you can help, the numbers for the individuals at the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office that would love to hear from you, area code 985-345-6150. Or you can call Sergeant Lindell Bridges at 985-551-0653. If you're a parent, all you have to do is put yourself in these parents' shoes. And that will be all the impetus to help that you'll need. Got a lot of COVID-19 news to get you caught up to speed on. Who knows? We may be seeing a semblance of normalcy returning to the Gulf Coast, particularly 3 states, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the good folks over in Texas, the Lone Star State. We'll bring you up to speed on that after we get our first break of the hour out of the way on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Solar with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Spuggs Show. I just out of the corner of my eye in the last commercial break, I put an eye on a couple of the monitors that we have here in the studio that we keep on news channels all the time. And the headline reads, new report, demand for teen mental health care skyrockets. That's obviously because of the psychological, mental health impact of COVID-19 and the lockdowns that so many states experienced here in recent memory. Unless you have been off-world in the last 24 hours, you know full well that Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards announcing yesterday that our state will finally move into a modified phase 3 of the reopening. The loosened restrictions will take effect statewide when the current phase 2 order expires today. That executive order, the new one, is set to stay in effect for 28 days, which will run through March 31st. Some highlights of the new looser restrictions for the modified phase 3. Live music will be allowed to return. Most businesses can now increase their capacity to 75%. All bars can open for indoor service at 25% capacity. Bars in parishes that have a positivity rate below 5% can increase their patron attendance to 50% capacity indoors. Indoor events limited to 50%, but can allow up to 250 people at one time. Outdoor event venues can allow 50% capacity as long as social distancing is still adhered to. Places of worship, and this is great news for people in the community of faith, no more capacity limits on worship services. And gyms and fitness centers remain limited to 50%. We had been under the modified Phase 2 restrictions for the past 3 months. As you well remember, Governor John Bel Edwards pushing us back just days before Thanksgiving. It is welcomed news for a lot of people, and while we're talking about this, I mentioned outdoor event venues can now allow 50% capacity as long as social distancing is adhered to. You may remember yesterday we talked about the fact that Southern University this weekend at Mumford Stadium will have their first and last home game of the 2021 spring football season. And at the time it was announced, because we were still under the modified Phase 2, that only 25% of capacity would be adhered to, something roughly in the neighborhood of 6,000 seats would be filled and or sold, as the case would be. So after hearing this good news that outdoor sporting events can now bump up to 50%, immediately this morning I jump on the horn, called the athletic department at Southern University to find out if in fact they are going to sell 50% of tickets for Mumford. Just so happens, when I called, I spoke with Willie in the Sports Information Department, the assistant SID, and they were heading into a meeting as I was getting ready to go on air. And they are going to discuss that at the meeting today. I also tried to sneak around, and Willie's a great guy. He'll accept this in the spirit that it's given. I tried to sneak around Willie to get y'all a more definitive answer. So I called a lady that is really on her game. Lakeisha, you are the woman in the ticket office to find out. Lakeisha, what can you tell me about tickets? Y'all gonna sell any more tickets? And of course I got the same answer. Well, we're going into a meeting in just a couple of minutes. I'm like, son of a gun. I was hoping I'd be able to tell the viewing audience, go and buy the tickets. Best advice I can give you is to simply call the ticket office. By the time we go off air today, sometime early afternoon, they should have an answer for you. Again, they are meeting as we speak. But conventional wisdom, and don't take this as gospel, y'all. I'm just saying conventional wisdom would say, if you have the all clear to go to 50% capacity, that you would certainly exercise that freedom. Now, I also understand that there are some logistics involved in this where you can't just do it at the drop of a hat. You've got tickets that have to be printed. You have concessions that have to be taken into account. You may have dealt with your vendors saying, okay, we're anticipating 6,000 people. So that means we're going to need this much Coca-Cola, this much popcorn, this number of hot dogs, so many containers of nachos. And then all of a sudden you find out, whoa, wait a minute, we might be able to get 12,000 or 14,000 people in the stadium. Now all of a sudden you got to scramble, get back on the horn with the vendors. Well, see, what had happened was John Bell told us we only needed to feed 6,000 people, but now we find out it might be 12 to 14,000 people in the stadium. So logistically, it's not like you can just flip the switch and everything will accommodate you in that regard. Again, best advice, that I can give you is to call the ticket office at Southern University. And you don't want to dilly-dally around on this. Y'all can tell how old I am because I still use dilly-dally. You don't want to dilly-dally around with this, because as soon as people find out, wow, I didn't think I was going to be able to go to hear the jukebox. I didn't think I was going to be able to go to see the game. I didn't think I was going to be able to get my football fix. Those tickets will probably start going like the proverbial hotcakes. So don't tarry, don't dilly-dally, get on the phone, call Lakeisha and the good folks at the ticket office. Support the institution. God knows they need the money right now. The team has worked awfully hard, and they deserve our support as well. And your ears will thank you when you get to go and hear the jukebox on Saturday. And by the way, if y'all happen to see this little peanut head black guy in the stands, Marty, looking like he's lost his mind when the band cranks up, that'll be me. Just saying, that'll be me. Yeah, hey, I am who I am. I do what I do. I don't try to hide it. You know. Meanwhile, I mentioned to you earlier that here in the Gulf Coast region, things are really starting to change as far as restrictions from COVID-19. Here in the great state of Louisiana, we all welcome the modified phase 3, but I can only imagine the good folks next door in the Lone Star State of Texas. Those folks are just overjoyed today. Governor Greg Abbott announcing yesterday that the state of Texas has now become the largest state in the union to end the previous order intended to halt the spread of COVID-19. As you probably remember, Governor Abbott faced criticism over the mask mandate that was imposed 8 months ago, along with the other COVID-19 restrictions. Well, Texas is scheduled to do away with limits on numbers for diners that businesses can serve indoors, and this decision comes as governors all across the country are starting to ease their restrictions. It sounds weird to say, but it's the God-honest truth. I don't know how people are going to feel not having to drag that stinking mask with you everywhere you go. We've gotten to the point now where, at least I have, when I get out of the car to go someplace, right, maybe 1 out of every 5 times, as the door is closing, I find myself going, son of a gun, I forgot the mask. So I got to go back and get the mask. It's going to be interesting to see how all of this ends up shaking out. But my gut tells me that it's not going to take folks long to shut the masks and go on their merry way. Meanwhile, in the Magnolia State, the great state of Mississippi, the governor there announcing we're no longer mandating that you wear masks. They are, quote, recommending mask usage, but it is not mandated any further. Unfortunately, Governor John Bel Edwards and the powers that be in the Bayou State haven't arrived at that point just yet. I will leave to you to decide whether or not they simply, the powers that be, aren't ready to relinquish that power, or whether they don't think we are adult enough to govern ourselves accordingly, or they simply think that the science says this is what we should do. I'll leave that to you to decide. But there is glimmer. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And at least for the time being, it seems as though that light at the end of the tunnel is not a train coming in the opposite direction. Knock on laminate covered particle board. Bottom of the hour break. Let me get this out of the way. We'll talk more next on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask. Wash your hands and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
On January 26, 2021, respectively, Pelican Broadcasting Network, LLC, licensee of KPBN LD, Channel 14, RF Channel 14.2, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, filed an application with the Federal Communications Commission for renewal of its broadcast license. Members of the public wishing to view this application or obtain information about how to file comments and petitions on the application can visit www.fcc.gov/station search and search in the list of KPBN LD's filed applications. Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. You know, it pains me as an American to see the politics that are being played with COVID-19. Listen, I've been doing this for over 40 years, y'all. So I understand everything is political. I understand full well that both sides will never let a good crisis go to waste. But the Dems particularly. If there is an issue that affects millions and millions of Americans, and you can use it for your political advantage, well, that's what they do. I mentioned to you in the last segment, Texas Governor Abbott doing away with the mask mandate. Already, Democrats in Texas are sounding the alarm. Oh, we're going to have an increase in COVID cases, and oh, we're going to be straining the resources in the healthcare system. The usual stuff that you hear from libs when they want to condemn conservatives for giving us the freedoms and liberties guaranteed to us by the rights in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. But I find it interesting, ironic, and very telling that none of these Democrats that are now denouncing Governor Greg Abbott for no longer requiring Texans to wear masks, none of them are criticizing the Biden administration for the thousands of individuals that they are allowing to enter this country illegally, not testing them for the coronavirus, and then putting them on buses and sending them to communities all across America. Not a peep from these folks who are singing from the rafters, denouncing Greg Abbott for giving folks who are here legally the opportunity to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But folks who have no business being here whatsoever aren't observing the process. They're allowed to come in, not being tested, and put on buses and spread in communities all around the country. Just a little something to make you go, And you know, at the end of the day, America deserves better. At the end of the day, this country deserves better. And it's amazing how folks in Congress, folks in the executive branch, and folks on the courts, how they just can't understand why there's such a disconnect between the average American and the three branches of government. By God, I just don't get it. I can't understand why the people don't see these things the way we see it. Well, first and foremost, you need to get out of your head that you were not appointed to rule. You were elected to serve. Sadly, in this country, that is the prevailing mindset of the, quote, ruling class. They know better than you know what's best for you. Even though most of them never had a real job in their lives, even though most of them have no clue about the daily struggles that the average American goes through, even though most of them, if they had to live on a budget of their own making and with their own money, would probably starve to death in the next 6 weeks. These are the folks that we are allowing to run the show. Does the old adage, the inmates are running the asylum, ring a bell? And it's just, and I guess this is why those of us of the conservative ilk are so upset these days, because you preach to us, well, it's time for unity, and we need to come together, and, you know, all the talking points that we hear all the time. And yet, you extend freedoms and liberties to people who are here illegally, while denying those same freedoms and liberties to the citizenry of this country. At the end of the day, if you are truly an American, there's only so much of that crap you can take. At the end of the day, if you truly have an appreciation for the blood, sweat, tears, and lives that were shed so that we could enjoy the freedoms and liberties, at the end of the day, when you see our fellow Americans denied these rights, these freedoms, these liberties, and instead watch them be bestowed upon people who have no right at all to be in this country, there's only so much of that crap you can take. But yet, we're preached to about unity. Funny how that works, isn't it? We are heading up on our final break of today's show. But I need to pass a little information along to folks here in the capital city. It is an instance where you can do your part to help. It is no big secret that here in the state of Louisiana, we have had more than our fair share of struggles when it comes to educational attainment. Sadly, we find ourselves so many times at the top of all the lists that are bad and the bottom of all the lists that are good. And invariably, education is one of those arenas that we continue to struggle in. And you know, for me, it's particularly bothersome because I'm a proud product of the public school system. Of course, now, as a baby boomer, I grew up in an era where a parent's involvement in their child's education was paramount. It's amazing when I talk with young teachers in the education field these days, and I mention that back in my day, we had then the PTA, and for parent-teacher conferences or just a regular PTA meeting, they had to go to the gymnasium or the auditorium to get additional seats to put in the classrooms because there wasn't enough seating capacity to accommodate everybody. I mean, it was, you know, it's my job, it's my duty as a parent to get involved in my child's education. And I'm not going to shirk that responsibility. So come PTA night, it's standing room only. Now, ask teachers at your local public school on parent-teacher night if they have 12 people, they consider it a smashing success. That is what that is. I understand it's a different day. But the new superintendent here in East Baton Rouge and the school system is seeking nominations for a new parent advisory council. I will be the first to admit, as it is laid out now, I'm not sure exactly how much good this is going to do. But I applaud the sentiment. I applaud the approach. This Parent Advisory Council will meet once a month for an hour, and the school system will be the beneficiaries of hearing from parents about what can be done to further their child's education. What can the school system do better, as well as what they're doing well and what they might need more resources diverted to improve children's learning. The new superintendent, Dr. Cito Narcisse, says, quote, "In order to be a district focused on every student in every classroom every day, we need to hear from those closest to the children and I'm excited to learn more from the families we serve. The only guidelines here, you have to be an individual that has a child in the public school system. And they are soliciting nominations for those that would like to take part. Now, for my way of thinking, it's a great idea, but only meeting once a month for 1 hour, I don't know how much you can actually expect to accomplish in that regard. Taking into account the magnitude of the problems facing the public school system, to meet once a month for 1 hour, realistically, I don't know how much change you can expect to occur because of that. Personally, I think it's going to take a lot more effort. But all that being said, that journey of 1,000 miles does indeed begin with a single step. Maybe this is the first step along that very long road to improving the quality of public education here in East Baton Rouge, and who knows, could well spread to other parishes as well. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old ribbon on this puppy, and wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
We're making 2021 the year of savings, and it starts right now at Team Toyota. Come get a new 21 Corolla for just $189 a month, or get a 20 Camry for just $19,995. It's a year full of savings starting right now, right here at Team Toyota.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. Just a little FYI for you and yours. This will be our final show for the week. We had some pre-planned logistical things that are going to require our attention both tomorrow and Friday. So this will be the final time that we are with you live on air for the morning show, and of course the replay in the afternoon. Just so you know, in case you are on the lookout, that that is what the schedule will entail for the remainder of this week. The Gulf Coast region starting to breathe a little easier, a greater sigh of relief, if you will, with the loosening of restrictions surrounding COVID-19, the pandemic, the lockdowns, et cetera, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But interestingly, there is a new report out that shows, and we've talked about the reluctance of the American public to getting a vaccine for something that has such a high survivability rate. We've talked about the reluctance of so many Americans to take a vaccine that many don't think has been properly vetted. That is what that is from the average American person. But there's a new report out now that says right at a full third of all military personnel are refusing to take the COVID-19 vaccine. If you think back to the 1990s, remember when anthrax was the big scare? Remember that? And of course, they rushed through a vaccine to give to the military and others that would take it. And unfortunately, for many of those in the military that took that anthrax vaccination, they suffered debilitating side effects. Many of them, to this day, are still dealing with the effects of the anthrax vaccine. And folks in the military, unlike a lot of other of our fellow Americans, you've heard me say on more than one occasion, we Americans have the attention span of a gnat. We'll watch something going on, a couple of seconds later, our attention is on something else. A few seconds after that, our attention is on something else. And you know, the powers that be, they count on that a lot of times. But the military is a little different animal. Those guys and girls, they don't forget stuff just like talking about it. So they remember what happened to so many of their fellow warriors that took that rushed through vaccine for anthrax back in the 1990s. As a result, a full third of them are saying, thanks, but no thanks. Meanwhile, if you also remember, I want to say it was 1997, if memory serves correct, that the military made it mandatory that all members of the military, the government made it mandatory that all members of the military had to get the vaccine. There was a real lengthy court battle behind all of that. And eventually, the courts decided that the FDA had not adequately studied how effective the shot was against the inhalation of anthrax. Commanders now are conceding we need to do a better job of calming fears among the military that they are being used as testers, guinea pigs, if you will. And of course, they talk about all the conspiracy theories that are out there surrounding COVID-19 and the various vaccinations. We're now up to, 3 vaccines. Of course, it doesn't help any, not just for the military, but for the average American as well, when you find out that 2 of the 3 vaccines are derived from a completely, pardon the pun, novel approach to vaccines. You know, typically, throughout the entire history of vaccinations in this country, it's always been that you take a weakened dose of whatever it is that you're vaccinating for, give the body the opportunity to build up antibodies so that when it encounters it in the future, it can fight it off. Well, 2 of the 3 vaccines so far don't use that approach. There is the mRNA, and if you've done any research at all on mRNA, it's enough to make you go, whoa, wait a minute, what's this all about? Why now the big shift in this all of a sudden, clear out of the blue when it comes to vaccinations? You combine that along with the experience of the anthrax vaccine that the military had in the mid-90s, and the result ends up being a full third of the military saying, I'll get back with you on that shot thing. But as far as taking it right now, thanks, but no thanks. It's going to be interesting to see what the government eventually rules on this. Right now, and what the court battle, if it comes to this, is going to center around is probably going to be centered in large part on the fact that these vaccines have been given emergency approval by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. For many people, the fact that it is an emergency approval is a red flag that it hasn't been properly vetted. When government or private industry, or in this case, a combination of both, is allowed to take something under the guise of emergency approval and then force Americans, in this case the military, and who knows, maybe down the road, you and I as well, force us to take something that's been given emergency clearance, you're treading on some pretty thin ice as far as the constitutionality of it all is concerned. My gut tells me, and I've learned to trust that puppy over the years, we have in no way, shape, or form heard the last of this just yet. And if the numbers now are at a full third of all military personnel not wanting to take it, I don't see it getting that much better anytime soon. But that's just me. That being said, time's up and I gotta go. But once again, this day, just like any other, I give it to you. You're right. America? Nah, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, still the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, it really doesn't matter because there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Hopefully, I'll see you at Mumford Stadium on Saturday. If not, we'll see you again live on Monday. Take care of yourself. God bless.